everyone, I hope you had a wonderful weekend. Today we're going to finish off lesson 59, parts 6 to 11. So part 6, we have an incomplete equation and our job is to find out our missing numbers. So our first step is to look at what 5 times a number plus another number could equal 37. So we need to find out what can we multiply by 5 to get as close as possible to 37. So we need to look at our times tables and think, what can we multiply in order to get a number that's less than 37? So I know 5 times 8 is 40, so that's really close, but it's too much because we still need to add a number. So I'll go to one number down. We have 5 times 7, which equals 35, which is very close to 37. I think that's a match. 5 times 7 equals 35. Now what do we have to do to get from 35 to 37? We need to add 2, and we'll show that here. So we have 5 times 7 plus 2 equals 37. We'll do one more example. For B, we have 50 equals 7 times a number plus another number. So now again, we're looking at what number can we multiply by 7 to get a number that's less than 50. So you have to think back. We know 7 times 7 equals 49, which is super close. I think that's a great match. 7 times 7 equals 49. Now we have to look at what do we need to get from 49 to 50. We simply just need to add 1. So we'll show that over here. So for B, we have 7 times 7 plus 1 equals 50. So you can pause this video, finish C and D, and then join me back when you're ready for part 7. And for part 7, we are adding whole numbers with a fraction. But there's definitely a few steps we need to do in order to do that. So for A, we have 6 plus 4 over 9. So can we add a whole number with a fraction? No. What we need to do is change 6 into a fraction. So our first step is to show the bottom number. The bottom number of any whole number is always 1. But we know whenever we're adding or subtracting, we need fractions that have the same bottom number. So the way we'll do that is we'll multiply the bottom number by 9. So we'll have the same bottom number, but whatever we do to the bottom, we'll have to do to the top. So we'll have to do 6 times 9. All right, and I'll rewrite that over here. So we know 6 times 9 equals 54. And 1 times 9 equals 9. And now we can add 4 over 9. So I know in our answer, of course, our bottom number will be 9. Oh, sorry, as it will stay the same. And 54 plus 4 equals 58. So there's our answer, 58 over 9. So now you can practice on B by yourself and come back for part 8. Get it all set up. So for part 8, we're completing the equation. So we'll do A and B together. So right now we're missing our top number. So your questions will either be missing your top number or you'll be missing your whole number. So when you're missing your top number, you'll simply multiply the whole number by the bottom number. So we'll have 6 times 5 equals 30. So that's our top number. We have 30 over 5. And then for our next one, we have 4 equals something over 3. We know we need to multiply our whole number by our bottom number to find out our top. So 4 times 3 equals 12. Now, if you're presented with a question where you're missing your whole number, you'll simply just divide. So we'll have 12 divided by 3 equals 4. Now you can pause this video, finish up part 8, and join me back for part 9. So for part 9, we're writing either a multiplication or addition fact with the numbers that were given. So I'll do A and B with you. All right, so we have A. The numbers we're given are 14, 7, and 2. So we can either write an addition problem or a multiplication problem. So we can try 7 plus 2, that won't equal 14. So we can't really add these numbers. But if we know our multiplication, we know that 7 times 2 equals 14. And you know with multiplication, either numbers can go in whichever order, and they'll always give you the same answer. So it can be 7 times 2 or 2 times 7. Both will equal 14. And our next one, we have 4, 8, and 4. Now we can think of any multiplication problems that would provide us with all these numbers, but I know there's not. You can also think of an addition problem. We can have 4 plus 4 equals 8. So then you'll be doing the rest for C, D, and E, either an addition or a multiplication problem with the group of numbers that you have. And then come back for part 10 when you're ready. And part 10, get it all ready. This is when we're dealing with fractions on a number line. So I'm just going to copy down the number line. So we're starting with 0 and we go all the way up to 4 with our whole numbers. And our job is to complete the fractions that represent each whole number. So we have here, so they show us that in each whole number, it's always going to be out of 45. So that means all our other bottom numbers will always be 45. So we can fill that in now to make sure that we have the right numbers. Our bottom number will always be 45. And when it's 0, we know there's not 45. So it'll be 0 over 45. A way we can figure that out is up here, we have our whole number equals our top number over our bottom number. So we know to figure out our top number, we'll multiply our whole number with our bottom number. So 0 times 45 equals 0. And there's our first fraction. So we can do that for the rest of the whole numbers as well to find out what fraction represents each whole number. So our next one, we're looking for 1. So our whole number is 1. And we know our bottom number will always be 45. So now we just have to multiply our whole number by our bottom number. So 1 times 45 equals 45. So there's our next fraction. We know 1 equals 45 over 45. And for our next full number, 2, we have 2 equals top number over 45. Again, you're going to multiply your whole number by your bottom number. So 2 times 45 equals 90. So there's our fraction for our whole number of 2. So we have 90 over 45. And we'll do that again. Now we're looking at what fraction would represent the whole number for 3. So we have 3 is our whole number. We have a top number over 45. And now we need to solve what 3 times 45 is. 3 times 45 is 135. So there's our next fraction. And now we just have one more. We're looking for our fraction for our whole number of 4. So our whole number equals 4, and we are looking for our top number over 45. Since we're all over 45. So our next step is to multiply 4 times 45, which equals 180. So now we've solved for our last fraction, which is 180. Now these are the exact steps that you can take when solving for b. Just remember, whatever bottom number they give you for 0, that will be the same bottom number. So for b, you're given a number line that looks more like this. And it's vertical, but we're still going to do the same steps. So this is what b looks like. So you're tasked with finishing which fraction represents which whole number. So you know 0 and your whole number is 33. So our first step is to fill in each of our bottom number with 33. And then you'll do our steps in multiplying to find out your top number. So again, our whole number is 0. So 0 times 33 equals 0. And then you'll continue and complete the rest on your own. All right, and for part 11, we have some addition and multiplication problems. I'll just get that set up. So our first one is 1,315 multiplied by 2. So we'll walk through the two first examples together, and then you can do the rest on your own. So we know 5 times 2 equals 10. I'll bring down my 0 and carry the 1. 1 times 2 equals 2, plus 1 equals 3. And then we know 2 times 3 equals 6. And then 2 times 1 equals 2. So our answer is 2,000. Sorry, it's a little messy. 2,630. And let's do B, where we have double digit multiplication. We have 23 times 74. So our first step is multiplying everything by our first digit in the ones column. So we have 3 times 4 equals 12. We'll bring down the 2, carry the 1, and then we have 2 times 4 equals 8, plus the 1 we carried over, which will give us 9. And now we're dealing with our 7. But it's not a 7, it's a 7D. So to represent that it's in the tens column, we're going to add a 0 underneath, right here. So our first step is to do 7 times 3, which is 21. And put our 1 here. And I can even cross out this one since it's from our previous question. I'll put our 2 there. And then we have 2 times 7, which is 14, plus the 2 we just carried over, which is 16. So now we have to add. I'll just bring this up a little. Then we have 2 plus 0 equals 2, 9 plus 1, which will give us 10. We'll carry over the 1, so we have 1 plus 6 equals 7. And then we just have 0 plus 1, which gives us 1. So our answer is 1,702. So now you can do the rest of part 11 and then come back for part 12 when you're ready. Now part 12, we're looking at solving for area. So let's read the problem together and then I'll draw it out for you. So a field is 368 meters long and 70 meters wide. What is the area of the field? So my first step is to draw out our field to see what this looks like. So it says it's 368 meters long, which goes on the side. And don't forget when you're drawing to put in your units. So it's 368 meters. And then the width goes at the top, which is 70 meters. Now we'll remember our formula equals area equals length times width. So we know it is 368 meters times 70 meters. And we'll solve for our answer. So in the meantime, I'm just going to erase our picture here. And let's solve what 368 times 70 is. (368 times 70). So again, we're first going to look at our first number in the ones column. Now we know 8 times 0 equals 0. And we know the rest of the numbers that we're going to multiply by will all equal 0. Anything times 0 equals 0. So our first number will be 0. And I don't need to write all the other zeros. And our next step is to multiply our 7, which isn't a 7, it's a 7D since it's in the tens column. So to represent that, let's draw our 0. And then our first step, we have 7 times 8, which is 56. I'll bring down our 6, and I'll carry our 5 on top over here. And then we have 6 times 7, which is 42, plus the 5 equals 47. I'll bring down the 7, and we're going to carry the 4. And then our last step is 3 times 7, which is 21, plus the 4 that we carried over, which will give us 25. And I'm going to put in our comma to represent that it's in the thousandths place. Now, now it's super easy addition here. We just need to add these two numbers together. So our last answer is 25,760. Now we need to rewrite this over here and make sure we include our units of measurement. So our answer is 25,760. And I'll just write it below since I'm running out of space. Square miles. And you can use the short form too. Right, make sure we include square when we're solving area in our final answer. All right, now you can do B on your own, and that is it for today. Thank you so much for all your hard work, and I'll see you soon.